guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to show you a little bit about what I've been doing in my Bible reading for the year. Last year I was reading through the Bible kind of sporadically, the German Bible and the English Bible. I read to my kids mostly at meal times because that seems to be the best time when they're like sitting still and we have time to focus and read. So I usually eat kind of quickly and then I read to them after I'm done eating while they're still finishing up eating because they eat pretty slowly. We made it through the English and the German Bibles last year. So there's the English and the German Bibles that I use. I use the King James Version for the English Bible and the 2000 Schlachter version for the German Bible. We actually took probably more than a year to make it through both of them because we started when my youngest son was born, and that was a year and a half ago, roughly. So it took us over a year to make it through both Bibles, but we were reading super slowly, like one chapter a day, 2 at the max for most of the year. So then in September, I decided, because we were going to be going to America in November, that I should try to finish reading through the rest of the Bibles before we went to America. So I could have a fresh start on the new year. And I knew that when we got back from America, like we weren't coming back till the beginning of December. I was like, that's going to be too close to trying to finish it all up for the rest of the year. So I need to try to finish it up before we leave so that I can start fresh for the new year. So that's what I did. And I made a big goal. You might have seen some of those videos on Instagram. We made a little bean jar. We kept track with a check sheet. We read like 10 chapters a day for 2 months. I mean, we were reading the Bible for like 2 hours a day. It was really crazy, but we made it. And we actually finished when we were in America, I think like 2 weeks into our trip in America. We had like 10 chapters left before we left to America, but we read it kind of slowly while we were in America. So anyhow, we finished our Bible reading for the year. We came back and I was like, I need something for 2025. I don't want to be stuck just trying to figure out how to read it. I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I don't want to feel stressed. So I looked up what kind of a Bible reading app or program there was that could help me read without stress in a very doable fashion. So I'm super excited to tell you what I found. I found the Navigators Bible Reading Plan. I'm not super familiar with Navigators. I've heard of them before, but I'm not like connected with them or familiar with them at all. But I was so excited with what I found. So it's a Bible reading plan that has 4 sections of the Bible per day that you read. It has a section in the New Testament for one of the Gospels. It has a section in starting in Acts, and then it goes later to the epistles. And then it has 2 sections in the Old Testament per day. So a section starting in Psalms, then goes later through Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, and a section in the Pentateuch. So it starts out with Genesis and then goes to Exodus. So 4 sections per day. It's not necessarily 4 chapters, which I like. It's split up into smaller sections. For example, the first day it's Matthew 1 through 17, Acts 1 through 11, Psalms 1, and Genesis 1 and 2. So super doable. So I decided I'm going to do this for the German and the English Bibles this year. So I printed off 2 of these reading plans. They're super nicely laid out with all of the months of the year. Printed off 2 of them, labeled 1 German, labeled 1 English, have them both in the Bibles, in the front of the Bibles. And then another thing I love about the program is it has only 25 days per month. So you don't have to stress about finishing the whole thing every month. For example, you're busy, you're sick, you're gone, you're whatever, and you don't get through it all in one day. You have 5 extra days roughly a month to catch up or to keep on track or to reread something if you want to. We started actually this on the 6th of January, so we're a little behind, quite a bit behind actually. We've only got about 5 days through on the German one and 7 days through on the English one. But we've read farther ahead, as you can see here, on the Psalms and some of the Gospels. What's the hardest for me at this point, which I noticed goes pretty much only through February, is the Pentateuch. So the Genesis reading is pretty tight. They have the whole of Genesis in January, which makes you read about 3 chapters a day of Genesis. Some days there's only 1 chapter, but most of them there's 3 chapters. Same in February for Exodus and Leviticus. It's really jammed in there. So that's the most difficult reading by far, especially in the German Bible, because I read slowly. So that's the only drawback I would say so far when you're doing it with kids. But otherwise, if you're reading it for yourself, I think it's extremely excellent Bible reading plan, and I would highly recommend it. Another thing I love is there's little check boxes right next to each passage that you're supposed to read. So if you want to read one farther ahead, out of schedule, you just make a check mark. I'm all about check marks. You make a check mark and you're good to go. And then I'm just checking off the whole day as we go along. Another thing we've been doing in the German Bible is just reading like 1 chapter in Genesis at a time, and then just writing next to it where we read, so we kind of keep track of that as well. Because Michael's been reading some in the evenings, which is awesome. I love that. So that's made it like a more of a interactive time. He stops and talks a little bit about what the story is or what the passage is talking about, or he asks the kids some questions. So anyhow, if you're looking for a Bible reading plan to get through the Bible with no stress, I would highly recommend this Navigators Bible reading plan. I'll link it down below. Let me know in the comments how it's going, what you're learning, what you've enjoyed about this plan. If you have another plan you enjoy, let me know. And I would love to stay in touch with Bible reading and keep each other accountable throughout the year with that. Hope you guys are doing good in your new year, and I hope you're reading some Bible.